All right, it's time once again to test your financial knowledge with a game called Right or Wrong. And again, the rules are very simple. I ask David a series of questions and statements, and he will tell us if my statement or question is right or wrong, and then explain why. All right, David, here we go with our first statement, right or wrong. And this one's kind of easy. It is too expensive to work with a financial professional, and most people are better off managing their own financial and retirement plans.
That is absolutely wrong. And I think that we all kind of know that. I think that there's I've helped a lot of people out, and especially for education reasons. I do a free consultation, no fee, no charge consultation. I think that, a lot of the times you've got mutual funds out there that are charging fees, and you've got brokers that are charging extra fees. And this misrepresentations, this really misrepresents who we are. I think that there's a lot of different strategies out there for other people. I think that it ruins, what a financial advisor really is. I think that we're there for the best interest of the client and in general, and that's where we should always be at. So I think that sometimes what people think about and people hear about is just kind of the wrong way to look at it. When we have a certain duty and liability, I just think that there's a lot of people out there, and of course your listeners can kind of bounce off this, that are too gung-ho on, what I'm paying my advisor. Well, if the advisor does well and they're active and they're there and they're, managing, and the fees, are, or let's just say, not terrible. Let's just say, it's reliable. I don't think there's a problem with this. What I do think there's a problem is when people are paying fees for something that's not there, right? I think that a lot of times I see people paying fees on portfolios that haven't been touched in years. And I just ask myself, why would you pay a fee every single year for someone who just set up your portfolio once, right? It makes no sense. There is no ongoing process. There is no looking at clients' specifics. And if you're out there and that's you need help. I would love to help you out. Just give me a call, because that's a lot of you out there, right? Your portfolio, maybe the guy has called you or the woman has called you once or twice a year, but at the same time, they haven't fixed anything. You've been in the same dang portfolio. I'm seeing it all the time. If that's you, get it fixed. Don't stick your head in the sand. Don't just say, oh, I like the guy. This is for you. This is not for them. So.
Right. Well, statement number 2, once you retire, right or wrong, your investment strategy should never change again.
This is absolutely wrong. I believe my personal opinion is your investment strategy should change every single quarter to every single year. And the reason is life changes. Things happen, right? I mean, your health changes, your expenditures change, the economy changes. I mean, everything, your career, right? Your family, everything is going to be different every single year. So I think the ongoing process, like I said, of being a financial advisor and being able to help someone out every year with their plan and their needs and their goals as a fiduciary is the best way to do it. I don't think that anyone should deserve anything less. And sadly, that's what's happening right now in our world is there's a lot of people out there that are paying fees for people who aren't actively helping them and doing the best thing for their portfolio. It might be a friend, it might be a family member, right? It might be someone that person trusts, but they're not educated the right way. They're not doing the right thing for the client in their portfolio every single year or every single quarter. Maybe they don't have the time. Maybe they don't have the education, but they're not putting the right time in, right, to manage that client's portfolio for their best interest.
And back to our favorite word again here, inflation, our final statement on right or wrong. Inflation, David, right or wrong, is one of the biggest threats to a successful retirement because it reduces your purchasing power over time.
I do think it is one of the biggest threats. I do. I don't think it's the biggest threat. I think right now the biggest threat is, having the right financial advisor personally. But because, I'm coming across a lot of portfolios that are the same, Jim, and not everyone's the same. So it makes no sense. And for all of you out there that think to themselves, oh, if it was all the same, then none of you would need a financial advisor, You can just look it up online and do it yourself, right? But it's not. It's different for every single person. And all you listeners know out there that you're all different compared to every retiree that you walk by, right? You have different likes, you have different, structures, you have different families, you have different health, you have different wants, right? Some people want to travel more than others. Some people want more luxurious things than the other person does. So to treat everyone the same is just that's the big problem. And when we go over that on a different episode, but going back to the inflation is a big problem. And I think that if you're not being aggressive with the amount of money that you can be aggressive with, and then you're covering that growth and income gap, separating both sides, and you're taking care of your income and you're taking care of your growth on separate sides. Again, I'm reiterating that, on separate sides. You should never have your growth and income in the same bucket. And I will always say that to the day I die, because the math just does not work out. I think that a lot of times people confuse it, right? And that's where the inflation can really hit, is when you're stunning your growth, right? And you're letting your money dwindle. And that's what inflation can do to you.